Welcome to Exploring the Wide World of Blizzard Careers.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alice White. I head up Global Talent Acquisition for Blizzard, which means I have a team that does all of our hiring. It also means I have a super fun job myself, so I'm happy to be here to talk to you a bit about the career options that we have in the wide world of Blizzard careers. I'm thinking from the size of this audience that this is something you're interested in, so thank you. We're glad to see it, and also welcome to everyone who's on the virtual ticket. Thanks for joining us as well, and we're happy you're here too. As you might know, Blizzard is headquartered not too far from here. It's actually in the same part of Southern California that we're in right now, and we have an amazing campus. It's the kind of campus where some days you're not really sure what's going to happen or how it will go or what exciting new things you'll be encountering. And from people bringing their dogs to work to different celebrations that we have on campus to just cool things that we're working on together that you get to learn about. So I thought it might be kind of fun, because it's such a cool place to work, just the idea of the campus, that while I'm introducing everyone, I'm also going to ask if they can share maybe a quick funny story about something that happened on campus. And to give you a minute to think about that, I thought I'd start with my own funny story of something that happened to me on campus. And it actually happened in my first week. We do a new hire orientation, just like a lot of other companies probably do, but ours, of course, is a bit different since we're Blizzard. And I found myself doing a scavenger hunt with another group of employees who were also starting on their first day. It was super fun. You got to go around campus and discover the different statues that we have and the different aspects of the campus. And I all of a sudden was on a golf cart with my team, with another guy that jumped on with a dog. Actually had two dogs, which at the time I didn't realize was a little strange, but one of them wasn't his dog at all, but when he found that was loose, that got me a little worried for a second, and then he reassured me by telling me he was certain it was a Blizzard dog because it had a Horde tag. So I reached down to pet him because he looked adorable, but I didn't look closely enough because he had just been consuming some grass or something and proceeded to lick me from my wrist to my elbow with dog slobber. And I didn't know what to do because I was on a golf cart with nothing to help me. And the guy that had captured this loose dog offered me a piece of his T-shirt to wipe off my arm. And for a second, I thought, oh, I can't really do that. But then I looked around, and there really were no other options. So I took him up on it. And that was my first impression of just the spirit of family and belonging and people being very willing to help you in any way that they can. And he actually offered me part of his T-shirt for the dog slobber. So that's my story. I wondered if maybe we could start at the end with Marshall, a little bit about you and your job, and if you have a fun story, that'd be great.
Great. So I'm Marshall Zelaznik. I'm the head of content at MLG. MLG is a subsidiary of Blizzard. We are involved with esports. My funny story would be, I still don't know how many buildings there are at Blizzard, but it's a pretty widespread campus with a number of buildings, and I remember a couple of months in being on the campus and being totally lost, having my calendar in front of me, knowing exactly what building and room number I'm supposed to be in, but I was lost. And there was a woman coming out of a door, and I asked her if she could see that I was in some distress, and she asked me if she could help, and I said yes, and we ended up on this 15-minute journey together trying to find this office, only to realize that it was really close to where we started. And I said to her, I said, how long have you been here? Because I'm here just a couple of months. She said, 4 years. I said, okay, I get it. So the story isn't so much about my failure to know where I was going, but again, the Blizzard family, I mean, she went out of her way to help me. I still don't know her name, but we see each other around campus at the cafe, and we nod in respect, okay?
That's great. Thanks, Marshall. Stephanie?
Hey guys, I'm Stephanie Johnson. I've been at Blizzard for about 11 years now, and for the last 3, I've been supporting community development for Overwatch. I manage a team of very talented copy editors, video editors, and graphic designers, and together we help create, strategize, and curate a lot of the content you might see on Overwatch's community channels worldwide. So Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Reddit, and YouTube, just to name a few. I think my favorite Blizzard experience would have to have happened during the Overwatch champagne celebration toast. I think I got that whole title correct. It was towards the end, after everyone had given their very heartfelt speeches, and the executive producer for Overwatch, Ray Gretzko, joined Jeff Kaplan, game director of Overwatch, on stage, and they pulled from behind their backs these golden water guns that had been filled with champagne and began spraying. It's more showering. There was a deluge of champagne on us while shouting, "Justice reigns from above." I started tearing up. I don't know if it was the moment or if it was the champagne that was in my eye, but it is definitely one of the most memorable moments I've had to date.
That's great. Thanks, Stephanie. Seth?
Hi, everyone. My name is Seth Spalding. I am the art manager for the Overwatch team, so I manage the art team of Overwatch. Stop me if I'm getting too technical. But a couple memories that I have. I've been at Blizzard for about 7 years, and like Stephanie, that champagne toast for the Overwatch team was something that I will remember forever. But that takes place right in the center courtyard where we have this 9-foot-tall orc. And I remember my first year here. I'm from the East Coast, so Southern California was a little strange for me. But I remember in December, what they do is they put the orc in a cardigan, and the wolf gets earmuffs, and they're all hand-knitted, and it's beautiful. But it's Southern California. It's like 90 degrees outside. And I never got over that. But that's kind of these little moments of attention to detail all around campus are always super special for me.
That's great. You ready?
Yeah.
Yep, Steven.
Awesome. I'm Steven Chen. I'm the director of animation for Blizzard Animation. Basically, what I do is I work with a group of very talented and skillful department supervisors and digital effects supervisors. And we oversee the production and execution of all the cinematics and shorts that's produced by Blizzard. So you guys probably saw a few at the opening ceremony. We worked really hard on those this year. And thank you. Appreciate it. And some unique experience for me, it's actually a weird one. I think everyone will be like, what? Where I came from, we don't really have food trucks. It's not really a thing. So every month, Blizzard, on campus, they would do a food truck rush. So to me, that was really unique. It's almost like a festival. It really turns a Friday lunch into something more special for me. So every week, I look forward to that. The other thing is the orc statue that Seth has mentioned. We're in Irvine. So it's not really a place you would imagine seeing a big, huge orc riding a wolf. To me, that's just super unique to come into work every day and seeing that.
That's great. Thanks, Steven. Wayne?
Last but not least.
Yes, that's right.
Hi, I'm Wayne Peacock. I lead the Global Insights team at Blizzard, which is a fancy way of saying that I lead a team of folks that work with all the data that we collect from all of the game servers and all the gameplay that you all do as you play the games. And we have the exciting opportunity to curate all that data and apply advanced analytics to that in order to provide insights back to different parts of our business, whether it's the game teams or our BattleNet organization or our customer service organization. So.
That's great.
Oh, and my funny story. So I've only been with the company about 9 months, 10 months now, I guess. I started in January, so it is November now. For me, the first words that popped in my mind when you asked the question were swords and shields. You're struck by that when you walk onto Blizzard the first time and you walk in the main building in the lobby there. There's a picture of there's not a picture, there's a giant sword and a giant shield, and you ask that question right away, and you find out that as you as you hit certain milestones in terms of your years of service, you get these as recognition for what you've contributed to Blizzard and to the Blizzard community. And my first week was going to an all-hands meeting with a group of people not much smaller than this, and watching a leader hand out swords and shields to people and thinking to myself, wow, I've been at a lot of companies in my life, and there's always some form of employee recognition for service, but leave it to Blizzard to make it epic and over the top. That is so cool. And these are real swords. I picked them
heavy.
up. They're heavy. So it's very cool. So that's my.
That's a great story. Perfect, Wayne. Thanks so much. So we'll switch gears a little bit, and I'll kick off with some questions, just thinking about the group that joined us today and what they might be interested in hearing about from all of you. I'm thinking about one skill that you use that might surprise us. So I don't know, Seth, if you have an answer on that one, that'd be great.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like you might have some skills you use that
know,
could be, or maybe not.
There's an odd one that I see get used, and it's going to sound a little strange, but it's called empathic listening or active listening. And this is a skill that I see employed by some of the best developers at Blizzard. There's an expression that I've heard that the opposite of listening is not talking, it's waiting. And I work with a lot of smart people, and smart people generally have answers to questions. And sometimes you'll be listening to somebody ask you a question, and about halfway through the question, you know the answer already. And the temptation is to give that answer, get that person going on the right direction, and also get on with your busy day too. But the best developers I've seen will take that extra moment and realize that, well, I have a answer, but I don't know if it's the 100% right solution to what's being put in front of me. So they'll take that time to ask some clarifying questions and even ask, like, what is it that you're really trying to do here? And taking that time to really dive in and collaborate with other team members, I think, is what separates a really good game developer from one of our superstars.
Great example. Thanks. Steven, can I pick on you for a take on that? Do you have a...
Sure. Somewhat related to skill of listening is communication. As an artist, I think a lot of artists think the most important thing for an artist is the artistic skill sets, right? Obviously, that's a huge part of it, and kind of a given if you can land a job, as an artist working for a game company like Blizzard. But what separates a good artist and a good production artist is really the skill sets of communication. Imagine you're working on a project that's anywhere from 70 to 120 people working on it at the same time. It makes it very important for you to communicate within your group and your up and downstream departments. With proper, effective, and proactive communication, you often save a lot of wasteful iterations or kickbacks, unnecessary kickbacks, and overall makes the production much healthier and more efficient. So to me, is communication.
It's great. What if we switch gears? Marshall, do you have anything? Your role's a little different than the
Sure.
two guys we heard from.
Yeah, so I had been a litigator for about 10 years. I was a lawyer, and I think it's related to everything we're talking about here, but I have found in Blizzard it's a very democratic process that you really collaborate. And so one of the skills that I guess I developed over my career is the ability to condense and synthesize information to try to help form an agreement on what issues are relevant for us. One of the big projects I got involved with very early is we're working alongside a lot of different groups within Blizzard to launch the Overwatch League. And our group particularly is producing content, the video content, and then also looking to distribute the content. And the groups around community, the groups developing the game, we all sit in these rooms and we try to tackle issues. And if we're not listening and if we're not paying attention, we can go down some tracks that take us off course. And so it's the ability to condense and sort of focus conversations becomes really helpful. And there's some amazing people at this company, and I've only been here a little less than a year. It's incredible how honed in a lot of the skills of the people in these rooms are. Yeah.
It's great. It's good to get your perspective on that. Okay, so I have another one. Trying again to think about the folks in the room. What about any advice that you might have for someone who's just starting out and wants to have a job like yours? And I'm looking at you, Stephanie, because I feel like that might be the case for some people that just heard a little bit about what you do in community.
Probably so. We are very fortunate to have a lot of interest in community development roles at Blizzard. And if anyone in this room or who might be watching from home are interested as well, I think the biggest piece of advice I can give is treat the field of community development as a career in and of itself, rather than as a stepping stone to something else at Blizzard or potentially at another company that you might be interested in. Just like engineering, art, production, or game design, community development is a skill that you develop over time, and it requires experience and a dedication to the craft to really hone. So in that vein, if you're just starting out and you've never had a job in the industry, something that you can do in your spare time and in the meantime as you're looking is to build your own micro community. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can manage a group on Facebook about something that you're interested in. You can try to organize a fight night or maybe even a fireside gathering in your community. Or start an Instagram channel around something that you're passionate about and help grow and cultivate that audience. All the skills that are required to do that are translatable to community development at a company like Blizzard. If you already have a job in the industry and you really want to make yourself stand out during the application process, really focus on your application materials. Consider the job that you're applying for. Community development is about selling a product, making it relatable, and connecting to an audience. So if your resume or cover letter doesn't sell yourself, connect with the reader, or really emphasize who you are as a person, it may get overlooked. I think the best resume I ever received was from someone I hired named Josh. He created this pamphlet. It was 10 pages long, and it was titled 10 Reasons You Should Hire Josh. And there was a lot of different reasons in there, like he's like a copy editor, and he's very experienced in the industry. But he did something really unique, and the first answer, the number one reason, so as I paged through everything, was he owned a DeLorean. It has nothing related to the field of community development, but it was memorable. And he actually, when he moved here, he brought it. I haven't got to see it yet, but he owes me because that is exactly what caught my attention. So do your due diligence, try to make it look unique, really invest in your story and what you can bring to the company. And I think the last thing is don't give up. It took me 7 applications and 4 years of applying from customer service into community development before I got an entry-level position. I've been in community development 7 years since then, but I never forget how hard I worked and how I never gave up and how I always tried to learn and grow from those application experiences.
That's great. Thanks. That's a really inspiring story, thanks. And I'm just thinking about, for people who are here who love Blizzard and love our games, there's probably some wondering that might be happening about how connected we feel in our roles that might be separate from the game dev teams. Obviously, Stephanie, yours by definition in community is very connected, but I'm wondering if we could switch gears a little and hear from somebody that maybe isn't as obviously connected about how tied in you feel to the game dev teams, and I'm looking right at you.
You're looking right at me.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
I feel incredibly connected to the community and to the dev teams. First of all, I'm a gamer myself. I play the games. Everybody on my team plays the Blizzard games. It's not uncommon to walk through our space at lunchtime and see people playing every game that we have in some form, either against each other or with each other or just online. So as a result, we're passionate about the games ourselves, and so we're passionate about you all in the community. So we spend a lot of time reading the forums, reading what you guys are saying in Reddit, looking at social media, and just really taking in all that great feedback that you give us through your expressions in the community. But then we also have all this amazing data, and so I have teams that are really extensions of the dev teams. So when you guys are playing the games, you're speaking to us through your gameplay as well. And so we get the opportunity to curate all that data and then combine it with what you're talking about in the forums and in the public spaces and bundle that up into insights that we can give back to the game teams themselves or even to our customer service organization or our Battle.net organization, all for the sake of hoping that we are influencing making the games even more epic and the experience of your gameplay even more exciting and energizing. So I feel incredibly connected to the community.
And I just love how passionate you are about data.
That's right. My life.
Refreshing. So we've all talked a little bit about culture and some of the questions we've discussed so far, but I'm thinking I'd love to talk a little bit more about that. And I know Seth, Wayne, you're newer to our industry. Seth, you've actually been involved in our industry for a little longer. So I'd love to hear and share with the audience your description of our culture at Blizzard.
We probably could have an hour-long thing or an hour-and-a-half long thing on culture at Blizzard, but I'm going to try and put it into a paragraph here. First of all, we have like 5 development teams in the Irvine campus in addition to Steven's group over in Cinematics. So there really isn't one Blizzard culture. Each team has their own unique way of doing things a little bit differently than the others, and I think that's a great thing. It allows our teams to have a tremendous amount of personality, and it also makes you not feel like you're at this behemoth campus of 1,400 developers, or however many we're up to now. But kind of getting beyond that, I do think there are some commonalities between the teams, and they're really key to why it's such a great place to work. I think every game development team is working on very, very hard things with maybe not as much time as they would like to have to work on them. And to keep a really positive, thriving culture going in that environment, you really need to have people who are invested in the game as a whole, and not just their part of it. And that's really critical, that we work on teams of people who are passionate and aligned on our goals, and we're challenging each other a little bit to do something better than we did it yesterday. And that creates an incredibly exciting and invigorating atmosphere to come into work. And it's why I've been in the industry 22 years, and I really can't imagine going to another developer other than Blizzard now after I've been here. It is an honor to be working among this team, and breeds a lot of humility as well.
I'm very happy to hear that, because I would hate to try to replace you here. So that's great news for us in recruiting. Thanks, that's great. Wayne, since you're fresher, I'd love to hear what your take is on the same question about culture.
Yeah, it's. I agree with Seth that we could talk for an hour about culture. But for me, one of the things that I was struck by right away was just how collaborative the organization is, irrespective of what function you're in or where you sit in the organization. Like I said, I've been at this for a long time. This isn't my first rodeo at a company, and every company has a culture, but nothing feels like it does at Blizzard. It does feel like a family. I've been in companies where it's actually taboo to say the word family. They'll go out of their way to tell you that it's not a family. But at Blizzard, everybody supports each other. Whether you're brand new like I am, I've never run across anybody at any level of the organization that hasn't been willing to take the time to spend with me, help me understand what they do, answer my questions, point me in the right direction. I have just a personal story about myself. I actually don't live in Southern California. I live in Northern California and commute to Southern California to work at Blizzard. And if you know anything, if you've been watching the news, you know that we've had fires in Northern California. My house was actually threatened by a forest fire just 2 weeks ago. And I remember texting my team and saying, oh my gosh, look at these photos. We have a fire like right there. It's threatening our house. Obviously, I'm not going to be at work tomorrow. I need to take care of my family. And I had no less than 6 people that reached out to me within 30 minutes to say, look, you're only an hour away. We can be on a plane. Do you need anything? Is there anything I can do to help? And I've been in companies where people say that, and what you know when you hear them say it is they really hope that you don't ask. They don't really want to help, but they feel obliged to say those words to you out loud. And at Blizzard, they do mean it. People will drop what they're doing to go out of their way to help you. And that's a personal story for me, but it's true at work. It's true whether you're going to one of the other offices around the globe. It's really that collaboration and that the celebration of individuals, the celebrations of our successes collectively, the celebrations of individuals at work and in their personal life. It really is, for me, that's the thing that struck me the most about the culture in the short time I've been here.
Yeah, that's a great story. And your house is okay?
My house is
Good.
fine. Thank you for asking.
Phew.
Yeah.
I wasn't offering to fly up before, but I care now. I care deeply.
Thank you.
So I get asked a lot, how did I end up here? So that's a simple one that I'd love to get your views on. I don't know, Stephen, what your answer is on that, but I'm sure everyone would love to know. How did you end up at Blizzard?
Sure. I had a background in traditional illustration. That's what I went to college for. It's basically watercolor, oil painting, pencil sketch, that kind of stuff. After I complete my college degree, I got a job in a film company for a short amount of time to do concepting. So that was very exciting. But at the same time, I realized that there's this whole side of digital art that seems very promising and seems like it will have a great future. So after that particular gig in the film company, I went and studied another year. It's my attempt to transition into digital media. And in that 1 year, I've completed my demo reel, which is focused in modeling at the time, and put it online. And that's something that was pretty popular even till today. I think a lot of artists put their stuff online on these CG forums or websites, and companies out there do pay attention. Certainly for my case, Blizzard saw it on one of the CG websites and reached out to me. And at that time, it was kind of surprising, because I've certainly built my reel for feature kind of film industry. I didn't have any game assets. I didn't have any game models. I had more hyper-real or photo-real creatures and characters in my demo reel. So when Blizzard reached out to me, it was quite a surprise. But I also know Blizzard is a great company with a lot of rich IPs. So I came to the interview, and that's when I found out that the reason why they were interested is they were looking at me to be a modeler for their cinematic division. And also, that's when I realized that all these amazing, high-quality pre-render animation they've done before for their games are all done on campus within Blizzard itself. So I ended up taking the job, and that's 11 years ago. So.
It's great. We found you then. That's a great story. I love that.
And I think it's one of those things artists need to be proactive about.
Right.
Blizzard holds art competitions all the time. I believe there's one going on right now.
Yep.
Yeah. And always check those out. Try to get exposures from these. Get exposures online. And if you have strong, solid work, we'll find you.
Right. Yeah. If you make it possible, we can find you. Right.
Yeah.
Stephanie, I know your story is a little different, but we'd love to hear from you.
Okay, sure. All right. Well, take a journey with me back to the year 2006. Earlier in the spring, I had just been accepted into an accelerated master's program at a private university in San Francisco. In museum sciences was the official title. Think art history meets business. At the end of the summer, I was planning to move up to San Francisco and begin the next chapter of my adult life. Around that same time, I was approached by my then neighbor who worked in social services, and she happened to discover that Blizzard Entertainment was hiring for a very large number of game masters. She remembered that I loved World of Warcraft, that I loved StarCraft, and asked me, was I interested? She could facilitate an interview and a job application. It was a temp job, which was great because I was moving in a few months, and it paid well, better than the job that I had at the time. So yeah, I was really interested. I applied, got the job, thankfully, and was set to start in about 2 weeks. In that 2 weeks, I had what could be considered a tiny existential crisis. I met with a financial advisor, discovered that I would be many hundreds of $1,000s in debt at the end of my master's program, and realized through a stroke of Google research that there wasn't a lot of careers in the museum sciences field. I started to panic, questioned all my life choices, and kind of thought about giving it all up, but I'd already invested. I got the I got the acceptance letter. My parents were super excited. I was going to go through with it no matter what happened. Well, then I started at Blizzard. And within 3 weeks, I think, I knew I had found my forever home. It was the only place at the time, my recent memory, where I felt like I truly belonged, that I had a kinship with my peers, that I had career opportunities, and that the company was not only invested in you guys, but it was invested in us. So I was still young, which meant I was a little more roguish than I am now, and I made the decision that every parent probably dreads. I decided to drop out of the master's program and pursue a career full-time at Blizzard. But I promised myself that I would set a goal and work every day that I came into work towards that goal. The goal I set for myself, I achieved. It took me 10 years, but I did it. And now I'm really excited about setting the next goal for myself. But I think the most important part of that story is that it's not a unique story at all. My colleagues, several of the people that I work with in community development alone, have just a diverse background. There's folks who came from political science, from fashion design. We even have a certified rocket scientist working in community development. So really, we accept people from all different backgrounds, and I think it's that diversity that really helps create a rich tapestry of products for you.
That's great. Thank you.
Right.
How about you, Marshall? You came in a different route, but we'd love to hear from you.
I did. So I was recruited by the Activision Blizzard corporate arm. I had been 10 years at the UFC, and was running our international business for about 7 years, and then 3 years in running our content business. And obviously, everyone within Activision Blizzard and the Blizzard family were understanding what they were attempting to do with Overwatch League, and there were people, at least as I started going through Activision Blizzard and then meeting with people on the Blizzard campus, it was clear to me they didn't know what role they were going to put me in, that they wanted to at least speak to me. If anyone followed UFC was in the process of being sold. And so as the UFC was being sold, I had accepted a position with MLG, which had been acquired about a year earlier by the Activision Blizzard group. And within a couple of months of accepting that role, we reorganized under Blizzard. And I remember our orientation with all of the teams presenting to the MLG group. It was web and mobile, it was the games team, it was incredible. I was blown away. It was fascinating. People at the most junior level to the most senior level presenting in a room this size with about this many people with the most amazing direction and focus. And it was really incredible. And I feel really, really fortunate to be part of the Blizzard culture. The culture within Activision Publishing, within Activision Blizzard, they're all different, much like the games teams. And this definitely feels like a place where if you have passion for your fellow man, if you love collaborating, it is an amazing place. I can't imagine. I've worked in a lot of companies. I've worked in law firms, other media companies, obviously the UFC. This is a unique place.
Great. So you ended up with us kind of through acquisition, and now it's a place where you really want to stay.
Now it's in my blood.
That's great.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah.
So I would be letting my global friends down who've dialed in or joined us on the virtual ticket if I didn't ask if maybe we could share a little perspective on some of our global offices. So I know some of the folks up here have visited our global offices, and if so, maybe just a quick description of which ones and what they're like would be great. And I'm looking right at you, Wayne,
Sure.
not just because you're here, but I think you might have. So
Sure. Yeah. In the short time I've been here, I've had the pleasure of visiting London, Versailles, Shanghai, Seoul, and Taipei. And what I would tell you is that instantly when you walk into one of those offices, you know you're at Blizzard. It's got the Blizzard feel, it's got the Blizzard art, it's got the Blizzard vibe, but yet it still has the local character of wherever they happen to be. So the Versailles office is very distinctly French, and the Shanghai office is very distinctly Chinese. And it's amazing when you walk there, though, when you walk in those offices, you know, and aside from just the visual appeal of the offices, the people that are in those offices, they also feel familiar to you. It's that same camaraderie, collaboration, that sense of family and belonging. It's like you've just come back from a long journey and everybody's excited to see you. People that I traveled with that had been with the company, like Stephanie and Seth, who have been here for a while, you know, they had friends in those offices and there were hugs exchanged and, you know, talking about people's families and checking in. But for someone new like me, it was, hey, great to meet you. I'm so excited to get to know you. Let's have coffee. Let me take you on a tour. I want to talk to you about what I've been doing. Tell me a little bit about you. And so, you know, that getting that meet and greet kind of moment out in front right away so that you can start to work together and collaborate together and really help each other out. So for me, as a WoW player, it felt like going to a new continent in World of Warcraft. It's, you know, yet very different, but somehow very familiar to you at the same time.
that's great. Stephanie, have you had any experience with other offices?
I have, and my passport isn't nearly as robust as Wayne's is, but I have had the privilege to visit both our Seoul office and our Versailles office. And like Wayne noted, it feels like an extended family. It feels like you're coming home even though you just left yours. And there's something really unique and uplifting about that. But the thing that I really enjoy about those visits and those opportunities is the fact that all of our differences in all the regional offices really help the Blizzard family grow stronger. The Versailles office, for example, has so many different people working there from different cultures, different countries, different backgrounds. So as a result of that difference and that diversity, and often sometimes language barriers, they've had to rely a lot more on processes and pipelines to really connect everyone and make sure everyone's speaking a common language. And that's so cool for me. I'm a process junkie. So every time I get to go to Versailles, I just want to learn from them. How do you do it? How do you overcome language differences? How do you overcome cultural differences to create and do the really rad work that you do every day? On the flip side, for Seoul, I have never seen such great hospitality. Every time I go, it feels like I'm not just a guest or a fellow Blizzard employee, but like I'm their family. And not just a Blizzard family, but like actually a family member. The first time I went, I was so nervous because it was the first time I ever traveled to Asia. And I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to travel to places I wanted, wouldn't be able to find food, wouldn't be able to navigate because I couldn't speak the language. And I just was a little bit out of my element, but all those fears were for naught. They made sure that every step of the way, I knew exactly where I needed to be, how I could get around, recommendations on restaurants, cue cards for common phrases, and if that wasn't enough, they also made sure that I had someone willing to come with me to every experience that I wanted to have in their beloved city. And I really learned a lot from that, and every time I get to visit one of their offices or they come and visit HQ, I make sure to pay attention to how they treat others so that I can, in return, treat others the same way.
It's great. That makes me want to travel with you.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
There's so much food.
You definitely want to travel with you. What about you, Marshall? Have you visited any of our offices?
I have. I've been to Seoul and to Shanghai. Having opened international offices before, I know how important as I entered those offices for those offices to get connected with what people look at as the home office. It's crucial if you find yourself in international business, how you connect that. Somebody said it earlier, I remember walking through the offices and it looked like you were just an extension of what was happening in Irvine with the local cultural differences. Everyone's wearing Blizzard branded franchise gear. They're all very proud to be there and welcoming. There's no doubt about it. The thing that I've actually used, I've said this before, is the Wi-Fi is the same in all the outer offices. So if you've got the name of the Wi-Fi in Irvine, you can go into the offices and you don't have to reconnect and ask anyone what the password is. I was like, this is brilliant. I wish I had have thought of that back in the day. But it's really amazing to connect with them. The people that you speak to, they want to hear what's going on. They want to share what's going on. And it's all about communication and connectivity. Those trips are crucial in a global business like this.
That's great. So we probably have time for one more question or so. And I'm thinking that some of the reason that people came today was to try to get a little bit of an inside peek into what it's like to work with us. Is there anything that you can share with the audience about a recent project that obviously is okay to share to give a little bit of an inside peek into work life at Blizzard? Looking at you, Stephanie.
Oh, do I? Have any of you in this room ever watched a developer update with Jeff Kaplan? All right.
It's a nobody.
So I have the profound privilege of being Jeff's right-hand man/woman for that whole process. And the way it goes down is actually pretty simple. About a week in advance of filming, we'll work with our video post-production team to book a room. I'll consult with Jeff, and we'll talk about what is the community looking to hear, what do we want to communicate, and we decide, is this the right time to provide an update? Do we have anything meaningful to say? And is it something that you guys actually want to learn about? Once we decide the topic, the day of filming, as we're walking over from our building to the video post-production building, we'll actually go over talking points, not before then. In that walk is when those talking points happen. And I'll tell Jeff to say this, please not this, whatever you do, and this. He'll repeat it back to me, and we'll find common ground. And we'll get into the room. He'll put on his swanky Overwatch-themed shirt, get a little bit of makeup, sit in front of the camera, and the director will say, go. Actually, he says, whenever you're ready, which I think is really unique. Jeff then proceeds to do a developer update in one take, every single time. Oh, wait, no. There was one time when I had to stop him. It was my fault. because he said a different term than we needed to communicate, and he felt so bad, and I felt so bad, and it like ruined his record, and we all cried about it afterwards and drank boba. Beyond that, though, I think my favorite thing about filming those is that at the end of every single recording, he will look at me and ask, "Was that okay?" And I'm sitting there thinking, Jeff, are you kidding me? Like, that was perfect. You nailed it in one take. I don't know how you do this. You're a unicorn. Can we bottle your magic, sell it on eBay, make a little money on the side? But I think it's that humility that really translates well, and it's him driving that. He's absolutely committed to making sure that you guys are updated and feel connected with the dev team. So after that recording process ends, our video post-production team will deliver us the raw footage. We have one of our video editors put it together. We have one of our copy editors translate the entire video into a transcript. We kick that transcript over to our localization team, and they will translate it into 12 different languages, and then we'll provide the files, the transcripts, and all the supporting assets to our regional teams, and then they will sim ship the product on whatever day the video goes live. So it's really a collaborative effort, to what you said earlier, Wayne, to bring one of those videos to life. But I look forward to it every single time.
Wow. I actually can't think of a better example to wrap up the panel, to give the audience an inside peek. So thank you, Stephanie. I also want to say thanks to everyone who joined us on the panel tonight for sharing your personal stories. I think that's what I was hoping we'd hear, so thanks. Thank you. And for the audience, if anything you heard today struck a chord and you want to learn more, there's plenty of information about Careers with Blizzard on our website, which I know you can find easily. And I think as we wrap up here, we're going to leave you with a short video that talks a bit more about our culture and gives some other stories from other people on our team to just give you a final sneak peek inside. And I just want to say thanks for being a great audience. This was really fun, and it felt like you guys were interested in what we had to share, so thank you. And enjoy the closing ceremonies and Muse tonight, and have a great rest of your BlizzCon. Thanks.
The thing that surprised me the most about coming to work is how much I actually love coming to work.
The incredible thing about the culture at Blizzard is that the same passion people have for video games, they have for every other aspect of their lives.
What surprised me the most about working here was just how humble everyone is. There's some of the best game developers and best artists in the whole industry.
If you're into working out, we have boot camp, hacking on something. We have a lot of hacking groups. We actually have a lot of team events where we paint and sculpt characters from our Blizzard games.
We played Dungeons and Dragons together.
There's break rooms and wonderful art on the walls, barbecues out back. My office mate does a mean brisket.
And after every sprint review, we play video games together.
What surprised me most about working at Blizzard? It's the feeling of family.
Going from, oh my God, I finally found the thing that I really wanted, to now I actually help make it happen. It has changed my life in such a huge way. Knowing all of these other people, it's done that to them too. Every day here is an adventure, but it's the good kind of adventure.
Hi, my name's Amanda Gertis. I am the senior data.
Trying to make made it even the better for. Oh.
The academy, which how would I have a.
The hitting of the table.
Oh, sure.
Try to be aware of that.
We have a lot of things here at Blizzard. No, that's okay.
Aside from the people at Blizzard, I like the dogs.
See, now I have to think of like how to start a sentence without using so or
It's a tricky thing.
So.
Yes, we do have unique. How should I phrase that?
What was I gonna say next?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Let's see here.
I feel like the end of that one was weird.
Thank you for attending Exploring the Wide World of Blizzard Careers. Up next, closing ceremonies from the Mythic stage.